Greater Than 0% is a 501c3 nonprofit that's on a mission to share stories of organizations from around the world that are changing lives. We have weekly episodes featuring amazing nonprofits and monthly episodes interviewing top business executives. You can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. It's Friday for us. I'm not sure when this is airing, actually Thursday next week. But in this episode, we have Erin Barnett, who's the founder and director of Black Girls Dance. Erin, thank you so much for your time this Friday.
Thank you so much.
All right. So per usual, we'd like to start with the mission of the organizations we are interviewing. So what is the mission of Black Girls Dance?
You know, our mission is to break barriers and provide opportunities for dancers of color. And we do that through performance opportunities, exposure to industry professionals, and monetary scholarships. So we really just want to train, highlight, and support dancers of color on their journey.
Awesome. All right. So we'll get into all those details. But before we do, why you? Why is this something that you are putting your passions towards?
Well, I'm the only one to do it. Not the only one, but this is really something that I am 100% sure is my calling and my mission in life. And I feel really, really blessed to be able to say that there's nothing I would rather be doing than this. You know, I grew up just loving dance. I remember seeing like a Fred Astaire movie and I was like, Mom, that's me. Dancing with this glamorous dress and like, you know, all of the gracefulness. I just saw myself doing that. And so starting to get lessons and realizing at a young age that my career needed to shift to classical ballet. I don't know how I knew that at like 10, but I went to a school that was, you know, not my local neighborhood school, but a school downtown, and really received just a top tier dance education. But it also came with a little bit of isolation. I was the only Black girl. And so, you know, that came with a few harsh lessons for someone at that age to learn.
A 10-year-old. Yeah.
I know, but you know, it really shaped me. And I remember thinking, if I ever grow up and have my own dance studio, I would provide downtown dance education on the South Side for my community. And so now that I'm in this space and in this position, I'm like, yeah, I kind of called it at 12. So that's my me. And I really love it. I think about these girls and think about their futures, and just, I've known a lot of them since they were like 7 and 8. So to see them mature and develop into these beautiful young ladies is kind of like, just like, oh, I get a front row seat to witness their magic. So it's been an honor and a blessing to be in this position for me.
Yeah. Wow. So the origins, what were some of the first activities that you started with when you founded the organization, or even maybe before founding? Because a lot of times the directors and executive directors you interview have been doing the work and then like, oh, I should probably establish like a nonprofit.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm wondering, what were some of the initial activities you did that kind of maybe sparked you to being like, let's turn this into a real thing, or there's something here.
100%.
So I'd love to hear the origin story.
That definitely is what happened. I think after and I call it an enchanted career, because I really, when I look back on it, was like, wow, I was able to, you know, I went to Howard University and got my BFA in dance and theater arts and danced professionally for just amazing companies in New York and Philadelphia, and, you know, dancing on tour with the Lion King. And I came back to Chicago and was teaching and kept running into these awesome dancers, and they weren't in professional companies. And I'm like, what are you doing? You went to Juilliard and you went to Fordham, and like, why not? And so I was like, these girls need help and I'm the one to do it. And so it started just like mentorship and using my connections and resources with people that were choreographers or, you know, artistic directors, and helping these girls get jobs. And then from there, so it started like with workshops, and you know, that evolved into conferences. So I would have yearly conferences where, you know, I would host anywhere from 60 to 80 girls all over the city of Chicago, bring in industry professionals to teach like an all-day masterclass sort of conference situation. And the responses between parents and having panelists of these industry where they could ask anything, I just saw so many light bulbs clicking, and I'm like, this is something that is really needed in our community. Living in LA and just being in the industry, you realize that you can have all the talent in the world, but you sometimes need someone to bridge that gap. You need that introduction. You need, someone to make the connection. And I love being that person for, young professionals, because they are so talented. And if all it takes is an introduction, that, of course, I'm happy to do that. And so we were having the conferences, and I was granting one deserving dancer $1,000 scholarship. Scholarship has always been important to me because, I remember my mom working 3 jobs growing up in order to pay. Dance is not cheap. And so, it was always the boys that got free rides. I'm talking, I have friends that never paid a dime for their dance education. And I was just like, must be nice. And so having this $1,000 scholarship piece was, a big impact for not only the dancer, but for their families, and so just being able to award one dancer now, since when did we have our first conference? I think it was in 2017. Now all of those scholarship winners have created their own little network, and like they're the Black Girls Dance, $1,000 scholarship recipient. They're in their own little club now. So seeing that has been magical, but everything was hit and had to pivot and shift during the pandemic. And so that was when I was like, the studio that I was the director at, unfortunately closed. And I was like, these girls still, especially now, still need a place to continue their training, have a safe space that they can interact and socialize with girls that, they were used to seeing every week. And so I was like, okay, well, I already have the name Black Girls Dance. And at that point, it wasn't really a business entity. It was just, just an organization that I put together. Yeah. And so January 2021, I found some space in a church basement. And I had, I think, 45 girls. And I was like, wow, we're going to just transform this space into a studio. And I registered for my nonprofit status then. And I think that came through around April, and Black Girls Dance 501c3. Here we are.
2020. One of the good things that came out in 2020.
Like, people that started businesses in the pandemic, I'm like, we need a parade. Like, we were just some crazy people on a mission, and we made things happen. So I really don't take that lightly. And to see where the organization has grown has been tremendous.
Yeah. I'd love to hear a little bit about some of the numbers and what you're able to track and measure to this point since the inception. Sure. Have you been able to see how many students have come through and scholarships and just measuring the impact from a quantitative perspective yet? Sure.
So we started in 2021. We had about 45 kids in a church basement. And in January of 2022, we moved into a bigger space. So going from one studio, one room into a facility, the Mayfair Arts Center, which we are so blessed and fortunate to be resident partners with that organization, because they are sort of an arts incubator and provide a subsidized rental space for 5 nonprofits. And so going back into this building, which was the original building of Mayfair. So many of us know that building as our dance home. So moving back there and now having access to 5 studios was incredible. So I think at that time we had maybe 80 students. And so here we are, 2023. I think we're up to 160 students. Wow. Jeez. And so I know it's been incredible being able to really utilize our nonprofit status and align with organizations that, provide. We're in that grant hustle, and it is more than a notion, but we've been blessed to align with foundations like the Ronald M. McDaniel Foundation, the Girls Opportunity Alliance, which is a partnership with the Obama Foundation, and really secure funding. I think last year, through the McDaniel Foundation, we were able to award 17 scholarships.
Wow.
And this is just tuition scholarships for girls during the year. So we still do our $1,000 scholarship in June, but providing, June is just 1 month. These girls need help and subsidized assistance throughout the year. So we've just seen an incredible organic growth, and most of it really is word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, a business owner's dream, because that means, parents are out there sharing the word and giving their testimonies and seeing what their own daughters have experienced. And we even have a few boys in our program now. It's so funny.
I was gonna say.
People are like, is it just for girls? We open the door. If you want to dance,
yeah, we talked about this. Yeah. The football, my dad's football background.
Absolutely.
It's important.
Dance is for everyone, and it is
It is.
important. And, it's so wonderful to see like these little boys. And I'm like, it's really an untapped market, because you have a room full of girls, and just to see them at that age, leaning in,
having a blast. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. So you said in your background when you were 10, got started into it, kind of the experience of you being the only Black person in the classes. Have you seen that change over time, or is there still a huge gap? Because obviously you named your organization after that specific problem, that there's not enough Black girls in dance. So have you been able to see it change over time? Is it changing? Are we treading in the right direction, or is there still tons of work to do?
We are absolutely treading in the right direction, but there's always work to do.
Yep.
I think, now with the popularity of, diversity and inclusion with ballet and that huge movement, it's trickling down into the world of concert dance. So by concert dance, I mean, not Broadway and not commercial dance, but concert dance, more contemporary, modern-based dance companies. But there's still a lot of work to do. I think, dance is just one of those things for so many years, people of color were excluded from, because it was this upper echelon in terms of training and exposure. And, if you're going to the ballet, you have to have your mink on and all those fabulous things. And what we're seeing now are more dancers of color on stage. And it's just important. That representation matters. And it gives, all, like, not just girls, but everyone an opportunity to see what's possible if they want to pursue a career in the arts, not just on stage, but backstage, and all of the things, all the career paths that, are important. And, when I came back to Chicago, to see that deficit still, but that was like 2015. So, we're almost 10 years, a decade later. I definitely have noticed shifts and progress, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah. What are the benefits, like physically, mentally, emotionally, of dancing?
Everything. Well, I call it's like the fountain of youth. I mean, there's nothing like 25-year-olds wrapping their arms around you when you come into the studio to keep you young. Like, you have to figure out how to still walk in that manner. But it really, being around the magic of, the inhibitions and just the freedom of being 5 and no bills, is magical. But I really think that movement in general is the key to staying young and staying active. And getting older, you really understand that you can't take that for granted. I always tell my parents, I'm like, I have like access to all of these parents. And I look in the rooms and, the parent waiting rooms, and I'm like, what if they were just, doing some mild chair yoga, or, just something to stay active? And I'm thinking, well, maybe they've been working all day. They need a moment to decompress and sit down.
That's true. Yeah.
I really think whatever it is, I really think that movement and being active, we sat down for 2 years straight. So it's like, we need to reimagine what movement looks like. And in any capacity, whether it's, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, just having a practice that's yours. For me, it really grounds me and just brings me back into my body and connects me. So when I'm out in the world and doing what I need to do, I have to take that time just to get centered for myself. So no matter what age, young, old, movement is the key. It's for everybody.
Yeah. And also, we talked about this. I did a couple dance classes in college.
Yes.
Another thing that I experienced was breathing, like breath.
Totally.
Paired with movement. It's just like mind blowing how it connects you with your body.
It's a connection. And people, I think, get intimidated. They're like, oh no, I can't do that. It's like, they think hiking is intimidating. I'm like, hiking is walking. Like, it's not intimidating, oh, yoga, I can't do that. I'm going to have to balance on my eyelash. Like, no. Yoga is breathing. Like dancing is also breathing. You just may be using an arm or like extending a part of your, a limb. It doesn't have to be intimidating. If we find ways to make it fun and make it accessible, I think that everyone can lean in. There's a dancer inside everyone. You can't tell me that there isn't.
I think so too. Yes. I would have to agree with that.
Yes.
Awesome. Last question before we move on to the future plans. So diversity, I feel like is a term that I hear a lot, which is a good thing. It's good that we're talking about it.
100%.
How does that play into your industry? Like, obviously getting more Black girls involved in dance. What are the benefits of having more diversity in that industry specifically?
Well, it's all about just exposure and opportunities and knowing what's out here. I mean, girls, with the popularity of like TikTok and all of these social media platforms that encourage dance, it's one thing to be, a dancer inside your home, but another thing to know that this can really be a career. I've been so fortunate and have had a career that has allowed me to perform literally all over the world. I mean, I was in a dance company and it was quite common to do 6-week tours in Europe. Yeah. So, that was a different time. I understand that. But, when I tell my students now that they're just kind of, you see them like, huh. And then I also have to throw
that's
out, I'm
possible?
Like, that's possible. And I'm like, not only that is possible, but I've also danced for Beyonce. They're like, okay, wait a minute.
Now I'll pay attention.
Exactly. And so, it's seeing that light bulb of possibility go off in them. And that's what, diversity means, because, sometimes you look on TV or you go to the theater and you only see, those same images. And for Black and brown girls, it kind of crushes them because they don't think that there's a place for them. And it's important. I just took a group of students to see The Wiz that was here at the Cadillac Theater here in Chicago. And it's important for them to see people that look like them on stage because they realize like, okay, maybe I can do this. And even if they don't want a professional career, it's important to instill these nuggets of arts appreciation, because even if they become doctors or lawyers or scientists, they will have that experience of self-discipline, time management, accountability, teamwork in an environment that's nurturing and, inclusive, so that they can go out and accomplish whatever it is they want. So, it's just part of this lived experience that, grounds them and lets them know that whatever they want to do, that they have a support system and they know what it takes to achieve their dreams. It's all about discipline and confidence. I tell them all the time, like, dance is just the vessel. Like, the core of this program is really confidence and giving them those tools to really just know who they are, believe in themselves, and achieve whatever they want.
Yeah. Wow. For people that do follow this as a career, what are some of the hard aspects of dancing? Because I'm sure, like, anything you do professionally, it's hard.
It is
so
hard.
What's hard about it? Is it, like, obviously all the constant training? So it's probably taxing on your body, traveling a lot, nonstop days. Yeah, I'm sure there's a very hard aspects of this.
Dancers are magical beings in the way that you see all that, that, growing up, you hear, and this is something that I'm committed to as well, is creating passive avenues of passive income for dancers, because, dancers make less than teachers, yet it's such the dream and we can't imagine doing anything else. And I just think it's so incredibly unfair to invest, your entire life and to make sacrifices. Growing up, your friends are doing these things. Nope, I have dance, only to graduate with a degree and still be making like under the poverty level. It's just, it's incredibly unfair. And so the biggest thing for me now, and what the challenge is to create, to reimagine what careers look like, because yes, it's a challenge. Yes, you use your body as your instrument. And those kind of challenges, it's tough, but it also comes with a certain, I don't know, satisfaction of knowing that you have an awareness about your body that other people don't have. I tell my students all the time, dancers are special. You walk around, you enter a room and people know that you're a dancer just by your posture.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally.
If people would walk on clouds, that's what I see when I see dancers, like dancing or walking. I'm like, they're walking on clouds. Like, how do they flow through a room like that?
It's
so
just
light-footed,
innate nature, and the training and the 10,000 hours of standing at a ballet bar, carrying your arms and carrying your body a certain way that gives you really a sense of confidence and knowing that you can do things with your body that other people can't. It's like this secret society of a superpower. So while it comes with its challenges, both mental and physical, because, you're also, once you get out there, you're going on, auditions every day, and you have to develop that resilient attitude to know that no matter how many no's, there's going to be a yes, and to wake up, wash, repeat, and do that same thing day in and day out without getting discouraged. Or when you have days where you're feeling discouraged, knowing who you can call and having that support system to encourage you is so important. So, we have to be that for each other and to be accountable for each other. But it creates this beautiful lifelong friendship. I have friendships and bonds with people that I've known since, my first day of dance. And that's quite special. So seeing my girls now and knowing that they've been dancing together since they were 3, it's quite special. Very special.
I'd love to hear an example of some stories, or a story of maybe one of the girls that's gone through your program and maybe how it has impacted them and kind of brought them down a path of, their choosing and their doing and their passions.
Well,
if you have any examples.
Of course, there's so many. There's a young lady, Eden, and I remember her, of course. And it's so funny that they keep growing up, and yet I'm the same age. Like, but,
dance, fountain of youth.
Exactly. I definitely was her teacher at Mayfair. I think she must have been 8 or 9, and just noticing again in her this just the design of her body and her feet, that this girl has what it takes. She danced and trained at the Joffrey here in Chicago. And this year in 2023, she was the $1,000 Black Girls Dance Scholarship recipient. So that sort of catapulted her summer. She was able to train at ABT, which for people that don't know is the American Ballet Theater. Now, American Ballet Theater is synonymous with professional dance, and it is also where Misty Copeland is the principal dancer. And she was for sure a catalyst in bringing awareness and attention to Black ballerinas and dancers of color in ballet specifically. So Eden was able to do the summer intensive at American Ballet Theater and get just incredible feedback and attention and just the things that every girl wants from like instructors. You're in New York City. And now she's used all of that and the connections she's made to now she's in San Francisco training at Alonzo King's Lines Ballet. So I think she's only 18. So she's been able to, I know, she's had the summer in New York City dancing at ABT in their scholarship program.
Yeah.
And now she's in San Francisco. I mean, she's living the life. Like this girl, and again, she's a part of that $1,000 scholarship club. And so we have other girls that are now at Juilliard and are dancing at their schools of higher learning. And it's just a beautiful thing to know that I've had this kind of impact.
Yep. And think of like the web that'll be created from her alone.
Absolutely.
With the people that she will inspire. Yeah. Yeah.
And the first thing she said, she's like, I want to come back and do a workshop and show the girls like the new way I've learned how to sew my point shoes. I'm like, say when. Say when.
Yes.
Yes. Like they need to know all the new things that the girls in New York and San Francisco are doing. And point shoe, you know, that whole thing. So it's wonderful because even at that age, she still knows that it's important to share what she's been experiencing. And the girls just are hanging on their every word. So it's really wonderful.
Wow. The future.
It's
what
bright.
do you have planned for Black Girls Dance?
Oh, so many things. Well, we are gearing up for Mary. I always get excited for Mary because it is my contribution to the holiday magic for people that, you know, love Nutcracker, but want an alternative to Nutcracker. Yeah. Mary, a holiday danceicle, is inspired by Langston Hughes' Black Nativity. And it's my take. I wrote it, I choreographed it, and directed it. And it's my take on Black Nativity, telling the story of Black Nativity through the lens of a teenage girl. So, but it's circa now. So they're at Nazareth Academy and these girls are in high school. And what would it have been like for a 15-year-old to, you know, be discovering what is my purpose in life, only to know that she's got a pretty important job and, you know, telling the story through the innovation of my incredible videographer and like just using projection and texting and all of these things. So that show is happening December 17th at the Reva and David Logan Center for the Arts here in Chicago at 6:00. So that's what we're gearing up for. And I'm very excited. You can get tickets, of course, on our website. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Black Girls Dance on Instagram and Facebook to get tickets. But the future is looking very bright. I mean, if our growth continues in this way, you know, my vision is for multiple cities to have Black Girls Dance because it's not just Chicago. It's multiple cities. I would love to see the conference in London, you know, just to have this global movement. You know, Black Girls Dance is not just a studio. It is a global movement. And the more, the further our reach, the more we can expand our network, the better. I think, you know, girls need this. And I just think, imagine how cool it would be to, you know, if I was a girl and I'm traveling somewhere to Spain and I could like get on the network and be like, oh, there's a studio here that, you know, you can come take class and, you know, just imagine that kind of connection globally. That really inspires me.
Or flip-flopping workshops, like Chicago is going to be training in London for a week and London's going to be training in Chicago.
And things like that are happening. I was able to teach in Bermuda over the summer and we've already planted seeds of some sort of collaboration because who doesn't, if you live in Chicago, who doesn't want to go to Bermuda? And, you know, to just put on like a big youth arts festival and to see like all of these girls just sharing their passion for art and dance and just how wonderful that would be.
Oh. So this episode's airing on December 14th. So you said December 17th is the actual.
Yes.
All right. So people that are listening, you have 3 days to get your tickets. So Black Girls Dance website, social media, we'll share it in the show notes.
Perfect.
Go get your ticket, go attend the event. And awesome.
Yes.
So other than that, is there anything we missed or anything you want to leave us with before we wrap up this episode?
I think we talked about it. Get those tickets from Mary. It's just a wonderful evening at the theater. It's something for the entire family to enjoy. And if anyone in the Chicago area is looking for dance instruction, Black Girls Dance is where you want to be. If you're on the South Side, our instructors are phenomenal. And we start them at the ripe age of 3. So if you're 3,
oh my God, that is adorable.
It is so adorable.
Oh my gosh.
It really is. I have the best job in the world. I really, really love it. And it's just the cutest thing.
Awesome. Well, Erin, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Again, we'll share all the links in the show notes here and appreciate your time and good luck with the upcoming show, Mary.
Thank you.
And good luck with the future that you shared with us.
Thank you. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Greater Than 0%. To find more episodes or to have your organization featured on the podcast, you can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms. Find your cause with greater than 0%.